Hello, friends. It is another edition of PRC here from IMS. He is Dalton Hopkins. He is Alexander Gintz. And he is Michael Massie Jr. the third. Alex, not Alexander. I apologize.
Legally.
Okay. It's been a day. We've been here for like 15 hours. Alex, this race basically had everything except a surprising winner. Because the guy that has won 4 out of the past 5 before today, once again, got the job done, but this was his first ever oval victory. Alex Palou is officially an Indy 500 champion.
Yes, and exactly in the way I think the competition should have expected him to do so. They call him the surgeon. He's precise. He's calculated. He's got this almost like 1980s and 90s Alain Prost features to him where he just appears out of nowhere. He gets to where he needs to be, settles down, and survives. Guys, when he took the lead, we've been running all day. We don't get to watch the race as closely as we might like to. I don't think anybody in that media center went, "Oh wow, look, Alex Palou took the lead. He's been charging to the front all day. This was just a matter of time." I'm so not surprised. We all saw this coming. He himself said he probably wasn't going to win this race, and I bet a lot of fans and probably some media and certainly all the other drivers were hoping that he was right. Bryan, this is just completely unprecedented. We talk about A.J. Foyt, we talk about Al Unser. You could kind of talk about Scott Dixon winning 3 in a row or something like that to start 2020, but this kind of dominance is like 2023 Max Verstappen style dominance, and there is no precedent for it in IndyCar whatsoever.
Now, Massie, this race started with the wreck before we even took the green flag, and it continued a crazy spiral from there. Scott McLaughlin went past the start-finish line, got loose, and slammed into the front stretch inside wall. That was followed by Scott Dixon, and somehow engine got on fire, or there's something that happened with the brakes or something, and it kind of just spiraled from there. Have you ever seen a wreck before the green flag to start this Indy 500?
I can't remember one in the Indy 500. There's certainly races where I've seen stuff like that happen, but never the Indy 500. It was crazy. Like, I thought they were showing like a replay or something of, because he wrecked in practice earlier in the week, albeit that was much more violent than this one. And it's just too bad that, there's that image of Scott just on the grass, kneeling down. He was so heartbroken. I feel so bad for him, but you know what? He's a good driver. He's got a good team. I could see it motivating him to come back here. He might win the thing next year, but it was chaos. It was complete chaos. But then we had a long green flag run to the end. All of us were in there saying we're going to have another caution before this thing's over. But we did not get that caution, and it was a pretty good race playing out at the end.
Dalton, the chaos continued, but unfortunately, 1,100 miles did not happen. Kyle Larson, with 8 laps until halfway, got a little bit loose going into 2. Correct, Alex? Going into 2?
I believe so.
Okay, going into 2, collected Payette, Idaho's own Stingray Robb, Kiffin Simpson. Unfortunately, I think it was a little over 230 miles he ran. The drive for 1,100, unfortunately, came to an early exit. Very, very disappointing for Kyle Larson. We saw it, his dejection when he got out of the infield care center. Just very, very unfortunate.
Yeah, and if as of right now, as of this recording, the Coca-Cola 600 is underway. Larson did, of course, make it to Charlotte after his early exit from today's race, and that one's not going so well either as of right now. He spun, so I don't know where he is in the moment, but today has just become an absolute nightmare of a day for Kyle Larson. I think this is just nobody was really expecting him to perform the way that he did all of today at all. I mean, so it started off okay, started 19th and kind of just stayed there the whole time, and really his only time where he shined was when he got the fastest lap. I think that stayed until the end of the race. I haven't checked, but 225 miles an hour, which was, the last time I checked, 1 mile an hour faster than pretty much the rest of the field. So he put down a really fast lap time at one point, but after that, it really didn't go anywhere. And of course, like you said, got caught up in that incident. It was his own doing. It's not like he got turned. It's not like it was somebody else's fault. He just went below the apron too far. The car got loose and he spun around. So dejection, very unfortunate. I don't know if he's going to come back and do it again. Honestly, if I was him, I probably wouldn't want to. And you know what? I just want to point this out. Even if he didn't crash, there was a chance that he probably wasn't going to be able to finish the race anyway because of those rain delays we had. I mean, by the time that we reached the time limit, the time that the team.
Nathan Brown had been 40 to go.
Right. They said that this was a specific time that they were going to have to take him out of the car, and when that time came, it was 40 laps to go. So there was. I don't think they were going to keep him, man.
I mean, I was talking to a couple people in the industry, and they said that he was going to get pulled from the car. And I told this specific person, I was like, I'll believe that when I see it. I mean, it was mind-boggling. And the reason for that was, Alex, once again, for the second straight year, rain delayed this race. And it was a weird rain. It felt like mist, but like it wasn't hard enough to get like wet, but it wasn't wet enough to lose the track, so to speak. It was just one thing that was weird, followed by craziness. It was just a very, very odd start.
I'm kind of convinced I'm the problem, Bryan Nolen.
Okay, Thomas Bowles, Alex Gintz is not allowed to cover this race next year. I'm available, Dalton's available, Massie available. Alex Gintz is not available.
I'm starting to think I'm the problem because last year was my first 500 as media and we had a horrid rain delay. And this year we looked good. You know, this was kind of unexpected. We got hit by the one meaningful body of bad weather in the state of Indiana, as far as I understand it. So that really set the trend. This was, I would almost say, like the best, worst 500 I've ever seen. I was not impressed by the lack of ability to pass on track. I wasn't very impressed by the fact that the finish was determined by cars fighting to stay on the lead lap. I wasn't impressed by the fact that we had two cars, one retired and one with an issue before we could throw the green flag. But all that said, at the end of the day, it's the Indianapolis 500, and it's going to be great, and it was great at the same time.
Massie, there was some very scary moments, and we were talking with our boss, Tom Bowles, about this. I've never seen a race so impacted by stuff happening on pit road and the amount of chaos that pit road had occur. We saw guys get on fire. We saw guys get hit. We saw a car crash onto pit road. I mean, the amount of chaos that we saw on pit road was probably unprecedented for this marquee event.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, I mean, that was kind of the thing that kept taking guys out of contention. Robert Schwartzman, the pole winner, he comes in, looks like he's never experienced a pit stop in his life, and his poor pit crew, I hope the guy he hit's all right, because that was awful. And that takes him out the race. You had, I'm blanking on who caught on fire now.
Alexander Ross,
that's right, because he threw the gloves. He got mad through. Sorry, it's been a long day. But
16 hours, folks, 16 hours.
Rossi throwing the gloves feels like it was like 3 years ago at this point. But no, Rossi, I mean, he's always a contender here, a former winner, and he catches on fire. That was crazy. But luckily, we have such great like fire protection suits and things like that now that I don't think it caused too big of an issue. Like Ryan Hunter-Reay. I think he was going to win the race. He ran out of gas. He's on, due to the hybrid system and all that. They're having to turn the engine over and over to get gas back into it. That takes him out of the race. So it's like pit road. The race was decided on pit road today, and it's like Helio Castroneves is another one that looked like he could sneak up there and get that fifth. He had to pit again at the end. So I mean, it's just crazy that so many of these races you see great finishes, you see crazy passes, just like last year. This time it was all about being perfect in the pits. That's what Alex Palou was. Everyone else gave this race away, and he was just like, "Oh, thank you."
And I'm gonna piggyback off of that. It felt like, and like what Massie was saying, Dalton, more people gave this race away than won it. Connor Daly was one of them. Helio Castroneves was one of them. Ryan Hunter-Reay was one of them. It feels like more people lost this race than Alex Palou won. Was that safe to say?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you take a look at the finishing positions of everyone in the field, it looked like we had so many DNFs. I think the last time I checked it was probably around like 10 DNF. Actually, you got it right in front of you right now, so maybe it'll say, or maybe not. It's okay. But it was probably around 10 DNFs, 8 DNFs. It was pretty close. Yeah, so pretty close, right? I mean, there's quite a few cars that were out of this race, and not to mention, that wasn't even all the mechanical failures. That wasn't even all the troubles that we had.
We haven't even talked about the back-to-back winner, Joseph Newgarden.
I was just about to bring him up, so thank you. We haven't talked about some of the guys who had troubles on pit road, such as Joseph Newgarden. Well, he DNF'd as well, but that was because of some mechanical failures, some issues that he had on pit road, and of course, he himself was working his way through the field, and I think a lot of people were surprised to see that because everyone was saying this is a track position race. Not a lot of people are going to move up through the field. We talked about it yesterday on Bringing the Heat, our podcast special.
Available on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and more.
We also talked about it this morning on the pre-race conversation.
Available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, our Twitter, and our YouTube. Thank you.
At around 4:35 a.m. on the front straightaway. So everyone was kind of contemplating if Joseph Newgarden was going to work this way through the field, and he did. And I think part of that was because it was the attrition rate. A lot of cars were getting out. A lot of cars were out of the race. There was a lot of chaos on these restarts as well, and that paved the way for some drivers to utilize that pit road strategy to work their way through the field. And at the end of the day, the car that I once told Alex during the race, I said, look at this top 10. Alex Palou is the only one that doesn't seem to be an underdog story. And of course, he's the one that ends up getting the win.
Last but not least, because we are all tired, wrapping this up, what stood out to you? Massie, I'll start with you first, and then we'll go in a line. What stood out to you? It could be a driver, it could be the crowd, it could be anything that you saw or experienced today. What stood out?
Well, I just want to say, first off, that I was right from our podcast.
Just stop. Just stop. I hate both these people.
Let me finish. I'm not talking about the Palou win. Like, that's easy peasy. You just pick him every week. I'm talking about Connor Daly. I say we get podium, but he should have got podium. Like, he had this pace to get up there. But at the end of the race, I don't know if it was the set of tires they put on or something broke in the car. He didn't know either. But that car got evil on him. And he fell back. He ended up 10th, but man, he should have been on the podium with the pace because he was ahead of Palou for majority of this race.
Alex Gintz, I think I know what you're going to be talking about. Your projected winner that you thought led 51 laps, the most out of his entire Indy 500 career, but not enough for a third Borg Warner trophy.
You're almost right. We have to touch on Takuma Sato because he didn't get mentioned in the pit road chaos.
Okay.
But
there's so much I couldn't name it all.
But I am convinced that a mistake on pit road cost the best car today the race. I don't think any of us would disagree that, except for when David Malukas was behind him, Takuma Sato looked like the best driver car pairing out there today. And that's a perfect segue that I just pulled out of thin air on a whim.
That's a beautiful segue.
Because I was going to talk about David Malukas. And the reason I was going to talk about David Malukas was because David Malukas broke our caution-free streak at the Indy GP and was visibly dejected after the race. His start with AJ Foyt this year has not been good. Santino Ferrucci, who has been great at this speedway, did not get off to a good start. The whole team looked lost, and suddenly he was the only car that could hang with Sato. He was running 2/10 behind the 75 car when the other cars that had been running behind Sato were barely keeping within a second. So, I wonder, were it not for those almost lapped Rahal cars, David Malukas might be an Indy 500 winner today.
Dalton, final thing, what stood out to you in your first ever Indy 500?
Well, since we're talking about cars that we didn't mention or drivers that we didn't mention that had issues on pit road that potentially cost them the win, I'm kind of surprised. I don't think anybody mentioned Ryan Hunter-Reay yet.
I did. Don't listen when I talk.
I don't. And honestly, why would
Honestly, I don't blame you.
I also brought up Ryan Hunter-Reay yesterday, and some people gave me some weird looks on Bringing the Heat podcast.
Available on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and more.
But I brought up Ryan Hunter-Reay, and that's because he was really fast in final practice during carb day, and then his car caught on fire, so he got some extra laps there. But lo and behold, by the end of the race, he was in front, and then went on pit road, had some pit stop issues that ultimately I feel like cost him the win. And not to mention, I think he went probably what 5-6 laps down as well, or maybe even more. I lost count after a while, so just ended up being a terrible day for Ryan Hunter-Reay. But I think the thing that points out to me the most, and I'll add on to your David Malukas, I'll raise you a Santino Ferrucci as well, and AJ Foyt Racing, who I wrote about in my sidebar that is now on Rrontstretch.com, so you can all go check that out, shameless plug. But David Malukas and Santino Ferrucci getting 3rd and 7th respectively means that AJ Foyt Racing gets their first double top 20 or double top 10 in the Indy 500 in 25 years. Just think about that for a second. That's AJ Foyt Racing with that name, that brand on that team, and they have not been able to place 2 cars in the top 10 in this legendary race in 25 years as we watch people still celebrating here in Indianapolis. But
they got more energy than us, I'll tell you that much. God bless them. They also probably have some intoxicated beverages in their system.
Very likely, very likely. But I just wanted to point that out. I feel like that team really hit a milestone today, and I can only imagine that they're going to take it with stride. They're going to carry it moving forward into the rest of the season and maybe see some more top 10s.
Last but not least, we all got some fantastic stuff here from the track. We got videos, we got articles, we got social content, and so much more. Massie, you wrote a great article on the hometown boy that almost got the job done. Give us a little sneak peek.
Yeah, Connor Daly, it would have been huge because, as we've heard recently, Alex Palou is going to the Indiana Pacers playoff game tonight after this win. If Connor Daly, Indiana's finest, had won this race,
we literally may not leave tomorrow because the entire city would burn down.
Yeah, it would have been wild here when they introduced him at the Pacers game. I hit on what I said earlier about the problems that he had that towards the end that cost him the win, but give that whole thing a read for even more in-depth analysis on it.
Alex Gintz, we got so much content on our Rrontstretch Open Wheel channel. What can viewers expect when they turn to that channel?
Plenty of discussions with the drivers on pit road after the race, some discussions with team owners and team principals. Later this week, they can catch the Pit Straight podcast. Upon further review, IndyCar title talk, and then, of course, an IndyCar preview heading into the Detroit weekend, just this next weekend coming up.
They don't stop. Literally 4 days, they will be in Detroit getting ready for the street circuit in Detroit. Like Alex was mentioning, top 7 finishers here in Indy, we talked to them. Also, Dalton, you talked about AJ Foyt. Once again, give us a little sneak peek.
Yeah, not to mention we got Santino Ferrucci and we got both David Malukas, but I also ended up catching up with Larry Foyt as well, the team's principal. So his video is currently on Rrontstretch Open Wheel page as well. But you can check out the story and all those quotes that occurred, a little bit more in-depth analysis on our actual website, Rrontstretch.com. And if you really want to continue following me, first off, thank you. But also, I returned back to my normal life where there's quarter panels and rear fenders and all that in the stock car racing world. Instead of going to Detroit, I'm actually going to Nashville next weekend. So in 4 weeks, yeah. So that the show goes on. The show goes on. But yeah, if you want to check that out, we got some stuff. We had some great sidebars that came out. Massie made his own. He already talked about that, and we also have a pretty decent, a very interesting video that's coming out regarding the Indianapolis Motor Speed. Do we want to tease that?
I suppose we could.
Oh, okay, sure.
I suppose we could tease a little that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum, freshly reborn, as Christopher DeHardy put it, was kind enough to allow us in to record for a couple hours and produce a bit of an in-depth walkthrough of the new museum and its features, its many secrets and exhibits and hidden chambers and whatnot, and that'll be going up on Rrontstretch Open Wheel very soon.
And also, in a couple days, Alex Gintz bought a little thing you put on your eyes. They're called sunglasses. But they also have a camera. And we went to vlog it out. We went all behind the scenes. God bless Alex for editing all of the videos, because everybody that knows me knows that I'm not smart enough to edit out the bad parts. So make sure to stay tuned. Rrontstretch Open Wheel. This was incredible. It was our first 500. It was their second 500. Big thanks to IndyCar. Big thanks to Thomas Bowles, who we got to see. Big thanks to you. Dalton, really cool thing. Last thing at the tweet up, some guy asked us for a picture. Us. That was amazing. So thank you for everybody that listens, reads, and everything.
He got us confused with a different Rrontstretch.com. That's the only explanation.
The thing is, I'm going to take it, okay? Yeah. I'm just going to say thank you, God bless you, and then move right along. But truly, thank you. We do appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. For Michael Massie, Alex Gintz, Dalton Hopkins, I am Bryan, Timothy, Del Nolen. We'll talk with you next time here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Steven Stump of Rrontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.